Warning to coffee drinkers seeking an extra boost. Death Wish Coffee is recalling 11-ounce cans of its Nitro Cold Brew.
Coffee is one of the most beloved drinks in the world, but what most people don't realize is that not all coffee is created equal. Some brands are loaded with hidden mold toxins, chemical residues, burnt beans, artificial flavors, and cheap fillers that can wreck your energy, irritate your stomach, and leave you crashing before lunch. And because coffee isn't regulated as strictly as many other food products, companies can get away with using low-quality beans, poor roasting practices, and storage methods that encourage contamination. So today, we're exposing the coffee brands you should never drink, the ones that consistently fail purity tests, rely on the cheapest beans available, or prioritize profit over your health. Then we'll highlight the few brands that actually take quality seriously, using clean sourcing, toxin-free processing, and true transparency. Let's begin with the worst offenders. 1. Folgers. Folgers is one of the most recognizable coffee brands on the planet, but behind that familiar red container lies a product that consistently ranks among the lowest quality coffees sold in the US. The biggest issue starts with the type of beans used. Instead of premium Arabica, Folgers relies heavily on Robusta beans, cheaper, harsher, and naturally higher in caffeine, but significantly lower in flavor complexity. Robusta beans are also far more likely to contain defects, mold, and off flavors, because they're grown in bulk, under less strict conditions, and often stored for long periods before being roasted. That's a major red flag for anyone who cares about smoothness or stomach comfort. But it doesn't end there. Multiple independent lab analyses over the years have raised concerns about the presence of mold toxins and stale bean compounds in mass-produced coffees like Folgers. These contaminants can contribute to jitters, brain fog, midday crashes, and digestive upset, issues many people think are caused by too much coffee, when in reality, it's the quality of the beans. Folgers' roasting process also tends to over-roast the beans, producing a burnt, bitter flavor that's then masked with a very strong roast profile. This over-roasting destroys delicate antioxidants while increasing acrylamide, a chemical compound that develops during high-heat processing and has been scrutinized for potential health concerns. Even environmentally, Folgers falls short. Their supply chain prioritizes volume over ethical sourcing, meaning workers, farms, and ecosystems often pay the price for ultra-cheap coffee production. While Folgers may be nostalgic and affordable, the reality is simple. You're getting stale, low-quality beans, questionable freshness, and a flavor profile that's more burnt than balanced. For anyone serious about energy, gut health, or real coffee taste, Folgers is one brand that should stay out of your kitchen. 2. Maxwell House. Maxwell House is another iconic supermarket brand that has built decades of recognition. But unfortunately, its popularity doesn't match the quality of what's inside the container. Like Folgers, Maxwell House relies on mass-produced Robusta beans, chosen almost entirely for cost savings instead of flavor, smoothness, or purity. These beans are grown in huge industrial operations, often sprayed with chemical fertilizers and pesticides, then stored in bulk facilities where freshness is far from guaranteed. When beans sit too long before roasting, they develop mold spores and mycotoxins, contaminants known for causing headaches, sluggishness, inflammation, and digestive problems. Maxwell House also uses a heavy industrial roasting process that burns the beans to create a uniform but extremely bitter flavor. That burnt taste isn't a sign of strong coffee, it's a sign of over-processing and old beans. Over-roasting destroys healthy antioxidants and can increase acrylamide levels, a compound created during high-heat cooking that health experts continue to monitor for safety concerns. This makes the coffee acidic, harsh on the stomach, and difficult to drink without cream or sugar to mask the unpleasant bitterness. Transparency is also a serious issue. Maxwell House does not disclose specific sourcing regions, bean varieties, harvest dates, roasting dates, or quality testing practices. Everything is blended into massive commercial batches, meaning the flavor and freshness vary widely, and customers have no way of knowing what they're actually getting. Even worse, the brand does not perform or publish mold toxin or pesticide testing, leaving consumers completely in the dark about potential contaminants. Environmentally, Maxwell House performs poorly as well. There is little to no emphasis on fair trade practices, sustainable farming, or eco-friendly sourcing. The focus is simply mass production at the lowest cost possible, which almost always sacrifices bean quality and ethical responsibility. 3. Yuban Coffee. Yuban used to be marketed as a premium, ethically sourced coffee brand, but over the years, the quality has dropped so significantly that many longtime customers don't even recognize the product anymore. One of the biggest issues with Yubon today is bean degradation. The brand moved away from high-quality Arabica beans and shifted to cheaper blends dominated by Robusta. Robusta beans are known for being extremely bitter, more acidic, and far more likely to contain defects, pest damage, and mold spores. For a brand that once prided itself on flavor and sustainability, this switch has dramatically changed the drinking experience. Lab tests and independent reviews have raised concerns about freshness as well. Yubon is mass-produced in enormous batches, packaged in large tubs, and shipped worldwide, sitting in warehouses and store shelves for months at a time. Coffee is a perishable product, and once beans lose their natural oils and aromas, they oxidize and become harsh, sour, and stomach irritating. Many consumers report Yubon tasting stale almost immediately after opening, which is a sign of low-grade, long-stored beans. Another major issue is lack of transparency. Yubon provides no information about where the beans are grown, how they're processed, or whether they undergo quality testing. The brand used to promote Rainforest Alliance certification, but that commitment has faded in recent years, and the company no longer emphasizes ethical sourcing. This shift strongly suggests cost-cutting measures and reduced ingredient oversight. Even environmentally, Yubon has fallen behind. There is minimal sustainability information, no guarantee of fair wages for workers, and no indication that pesticides, soil health, or water resources are monitored responsibly. It has become just another mass-market brand prioritizing quantity over quality. What used to be a respectable supermarket coffee has now become a low-cost, low-quality option with questionable sourcing, questionable freshness, and an increasingly poor flavor profile. If you care about purity, consistency, or even just decent taste, Yubon is no longer worth buying. 4. Café Bustelo. Café Bustelo has an iconic presence, especially in Latin households, and its bold, strong flavor has created a passionate following. But while the brand is known for its affordability and espresso-style intensity, it comes with several serious quality concerns that make it a coffee to avoid if you care about health, purity, or bean integrity. The first issue is bean quality. Café Bustelo uses almost entirely Robusta beans, which deliver a more bitter, harsher, and more acidic flavor. Robusta beans are cheaper to grow and extremely high in caffeine, which creates that punchy, aggressive taste, but they are also more prone to defects, mold contamination, and chemical residue. Because the beans are sourced from large-scale commodity farms, there is little transparency about pesticide use, processing methods, or storage conditions. Café Bustelo's biggest red flag is its long-standing association with mold toxin concerns. Multiple independent coffee reviewers and lab testers have flagged lower-tier espresso-style coffees for high mycotoxin risks because the beans are often stored in humid, uncontrolled environments before roasting. Bustelo does not publish any mold toxin testing results, leaving consumers completely in the dark. Mycotoxins can cause brain fog, energy crashes, inflammation, headaches, and digestive upset. Another issue is the brand's reliance on extremely dark, industrial roasting. The beans are roasted to a near-burnt level, which creates a heavy, smoky flavor but destroys beneficial antioxidants. Ultra-dark roasting also produces more acrylamide, the heat-created compound under scrutiny for possible health risks. Bustelo's signature strong taste is often the result of over-roasting, not quality. Finally, the lack of ethical or sustainable sourcing policies is a major concern. There is no fair trade certification, no farmer support program, and no environmental transparency. Everything points to low-cost mass production rather than quality craftsmanship. While Café Bustelo has a strong cultural reputation and a nostalgic flavor, its actual bean quality, purity standards, and roasting methods make it one of the unhealthiest coffees you can consume. That intense kick comes at the cost of questionable sourcing, potential toxins, and stale, over-roasted beans. 5. Kirkland Signature Medium Roast, Costco brand. Kirkland Signature is loved for budget-friendly products, but their medium roast coffee is one item that consistently disappoints in quality, purity, and consistency. While Costco excels in many categories, its coffee sourcing practices raise real concerns. The first red flag is mass-market bean sourcing. Kirkland uses huge blends of beans from multiple countries, farms, and suppliers, meaning quality varies dramatically from batch to batch. Most of these beans are lower-grade Arabica mixed with Robusta, which means more bitterness, less flavor complexity, and a much higher chance of mold spores and defects. Another major issue is lack of freshness. Kirkland coffee is roasted in bulk, vacuum-packed, and shipped worldwide, sitting for months in warehouses before ever reaching shelves. Coffee is a fresh product. Once roasted, it begins to oxidize and lose flavor quickly. By the time most Kirkland containers reach consumers, the beans are already stale, leading to sour, flat, or rancid notes that irritate the stomach and create a jittery, uncomfortable caffeine experience. Independent lab tests have also raised concerns about mycotoxins in mass-produced, low-cost coffee blends. Because Kirkland does not publicly release toxin screening data, consumers have no guarantee of mold-free beans. Mycotoxin exposure, even in small amounts, can contribute to headaches, brain fog, energy crashes, inflammation, and digestive issues. Cheap beans stored for long periods in humid environments are the most likely to develop these contaminants. Another noticeable issue is the oily, over-roasted surface often found on Kirkland beans. While many people assume shiny beans are fresh, oil on the surface actually means the beans are degrading rapidly. The oils oxidize quickly, turning stale and producing harsh, acidic flavors. Kirkland also provides no sourcing transparency, no details on farm conditions, pesticides, soil health, growing practices, worker pay, or environmental impact. This is a strong sign of bulk commodity sourcing rather than high-quality, ethically grown coffee. While Costco is known for great value, their medium roast coffee sacrifices quality, purity, and freshness to stay cheap. The flavor is inconsistent, the beans are often stale, and the lack of testing or transparency makes it a risky daily drink. For coffee lovers, or anyone concerned about health, Kirkland's medium roast is a brand worth skipping. 6. Chock full of nuts. Chock full of nuts has a nostalgic reputation dating back nearly 90 years, but behind the old-school branding lies a product that falls far short of modern coffee standards. One of the biggest concerns is bean quality. The brand uses low-grade Robusta beans blended with cheap Arabica, resulting in a bitter, burnt flavor profile with virtually no sweetness or complexity. Robusta beans are far more likely to develop mold, pest defects, and storage damage because they are grown on large industrial farms with fewer quality controls. The brand's roasting method is another issue. Chock full of nuts is known for roasting beans extremely dark, not for artistry or flavor, but to hide the defects of poor quality beans. When beans are roasted, this dark, natural oils burn off, antioxidant content drops, and acrylamide levels increase. The final result is a coffee that tastes harsh and charred rather than rich or smooth. Freshness is a long-standing problem as well. Chock full of nuts coffee is roasted in large quantities and packed into metal cans with long shelf lives, sometimes exceeding 18 months. Coffee stored this long inevitably oxidizes, producing stale aroma, sour notes, and rancid undertones. Many customers report the smell of the coffee being off even before brewing, a sign of old beans. Another concern is lack of purity testing. The brand provides no information about screening for mold toxins, pesticides, or heavy metals. Because they use low-priced commodity beans, the risk of contamination is significantly higher than with specialty brands. Furthermore, Chock full of nuts offers almost no transparency regarding farming practices, sustainability efforts, or fair trade conditions. This means beans may come from farms using outdated agricultural practices, questionable labor conditions, and heavy chemical inputs. Even the taste suffers. Many reviewers describe the flavor as muddy, burnt, or metallic, a sign of poor roasting, poor freshness, and low-quality beans. The coffee often requires a lot of cream or sugar to mask the bitterness, which defeats the purpose of drinking a clean, enjoyable cup. 7. Death Wish Coffee. Death Wish Coffee markets itself as the world's strongest coffee, but the extreme caffeine levels and aggressive dark roasting make it a brand you should think twice about before drinking regularly. The first major issue is the dangerously high caffeine content. A single cup of Death Wish can contain over 700 milligrams of caffeine depending on brew strength, more than 3 times the caffeine of a typical cup. For many people, this level can trigger heart palpitations, anxiety, dizziness, digestive issues, and sleep disruption. Even healthy adults can crash hard after drinking it, leading to fatigue cycles and adrenal stress. The second issue is the ultra-dark roast level, which the company uses to create its signature bold flavor. While some people enjoy dark roasts, over-roasting beans destroys many of the beneficial antioxidants naturally present in coffee. It also increases the formation of acrylamide, a compound of concern formed during high-heat roasting. A darker roast also makes it easier to hide defects in the beans, which is often used when sourcing isn't transparent. Death Wish blends Robusta and Arabica beans. Robusta beans naturally contain far more caffeine than Arabica, but they also tend to have higher bitterness, more mycotoxin risk, and lower quality control in farming. And while the brand claims to test for purity, they do not publish third-party lab results verifying mold, fungus, or pesticide levels. Without publicly available data, consumers are left guessing about the safety and cleanliness of the beans. Another concern is the lack of sourcing transparency. Death Wish does not disclose the exact origin of its beans, only that they come from high-quality farms. But high quality means different things to different companies, and without naming farms or regions, customers cannot verify growing practices, chemical usage, labor conditions, or storage standards. Finally, the branding encourages consumers to drink something extremely strong without fully understanding the risks. For individuals with high blood pressure, anxiety, heart conditions, or caffeine sensitivity, Death Wish coffee can be genuinely dangerous. While it may appeal to people seeking a jolt, the combination of extreme caffeine, heavy roasting, unclear sourcing, and inconsistent purity testing makes it a brand worth avoiding for long-term health. 8. McCafe ground coffee, store-bought version. McDonald's coffee served fresh in restaurants is often considered decent, but the store-bought McCafe packaged coffee is a completely different product, and not in a good way. One of the biggest concerns is that the packaged version is produced through mass-lot bulk suppliers that prioritize shelf life over freshness. These beans are roasted in massive industrial batches, stored for long periods, and shipped through long supply chains before ever reaching store shelves. By the time consumers buy the bag, the beans are often months old, resulting in a flat, stale, and lifeless flavor. Another issue is that McCafe packaged coffee typically uses low-grade Arabica beans, which lack consistency and quality. Because McCafe is a budget coffee brand, it sources beans from multiple countries and farms with varying standards, meaning defects, mold spores, and poor storage conditions become more likely. This problem is amplified by the fact that the brand does not release third-party lab results verifying the absence of mycotoxins or pesticide residues. The roasting process is also problematic. McCafe beans are roasted to a medium-dark profile that often tastes dull, muted, and overprocessed. Industrial roasting at extremely high temperatures can increase acrylamide levels while diminishing antioxidant benefits. Many consumers report a burnt or cardboard-like flavor, which is a sign of beans that are both low quality and roasted past their optimal point. Packaging plays another role in quality loss. McCafe uses basic bags with limited oxygen control technology compared to premium brands. This means oxidation happens faster, causing the coffee to turn stale even more quickly once opened. Freshness valves are present, but they are not high-quality multi-layer systems used by specialty brands to preserve aroma and flavor. Overall, the packaged McCafe coffee on store shelves is a far cry from what you get in McDonald's restaurants. With stale beans, inconsistent quality, poor roasting methods, and no transparency around purity or sourcing, McCafe packaged coffee is one you're better off skipping. If those brands made you question what's really in your morning cup, don't worry, not all coffee is created equal. Some brands actually care about purity, sourcing, and real flavor. Here are 2 genuinely safe, high-quality alternatives you can trust. 1. Bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee is one of the most reliable, clean, and well-tested coffee brands you can choose if you care about purity, flavor, and long-term health. Unlike many mainstream coffee companies that offer no transparency, Bulletproof publishes third-party testing results to ensure their beans are free from mold, mycotoxins, and harmful chemical residues. This already places them in a completely different category from cheap supermarket brands that often contain stale beans or questionable contaminants. What makes Bulletproof especially impressive is their strict screening process. They use a sustainable, chemical-free washing method and source their beans from high-altitude farms, which naturally reduces the likelihood of fungus and toxin growth. Flavor-wise, Bulletproof coffee is smooth, rich, and well-balanced. They roast their beans with precision to enhance taste while maintaining antioxidant levels. Instead of the burnt, bitter, or smoky flavors found in heavily roasted or low-quality beans, Bulletproof provides a clean, chocolatey profile that feels energizing without overstimulation. You get a coffee that tastes premium even without cream or sugar, which is often impossible with cheap, mass-produced blends. One of the biggest advantages Bulletproof offers is consistent energy without crashing. Their focus on removing toxins and preserving antioxidants helps reduce jitters, anxiety, and midday burnout. People who typically experience caffeine sensitivity often find Bulletproof much easier on the stomach and nervous system. The company is also transparent about origin. Their beans are grown in Central and South America under strict environmental and labor standards. Everything from soil testing to harvesting is monitored, which ensures you get beans of the highest quality. For consumers who care about ethical sourcing, Bulletproof is one of the most trustworthy brands in the industry. 2. Stumptown Coffee Roasters. Stumptown Coffee Roasters is widely considered one of the gold standards in specialty coffee, offering transparency, exceptional quality, and clean flavor in every bag. What makes Stumptown a top-tier safe alternative is its dedication to ethical sourcing. They partner directly with small, high-quality coffee farms around the world and publish details about every origin, harvest season, and processing method. This level of transparency is extremely rare among large commercial coffee brands and gives consumers full confidence in what they're buying. Unlike heavily roasted supermarket coffee, Stumptown focuses on medium and light roasts that preserve natural flavors and antioxidants. Their roasting technique avoids burning or over-processing beans, ensuring low acrylamide levels and better nutrient retention. Every batch is small batch roasted, meaning the beans are carefully monitored for freshness, flavor development, and aroma. This results in coffee with bright, complex notes, often fruity, caramel-like, or floral, instead of the dull, flat taste found in mass-market brands. Freshness is another major advantage. Stumptown prints roast dates clearly on every bag, and they never package old beans. Their airtight, nitrogen-flushed packaging helps preserve aroma and flavor better than standard supermarket bags. When opened, the coffee smells fresh, clean, and vibrant, a huge contrast to stale, shelf-aged coffees that sit in warehouses for months. Coffee lovers will appreciate how easy Stumptown is to drink. Even without cream or sweetener, the coffee is smooth and flavorful, with no bitterness or burnt aftertaste. It's ideal for pour-over, French press, cold brew, or espresso, and each brewing style brings out new flavor notes. This versatility makes Stumptown one of the most enjoyable daily coffees you can choose. In short, Stumptown Coffee Roasters offers clean sourcing, ethical farming relationships, superior freshness, and top-tier flavor. If you want a safe, reliable, and genuinely enjoyable coffee for everyday use, this is an excellent choice. And that wraps up our list of coffee brands to avoid and the clean, high-quality options you can rely on instead. Your daily cup shouldn't be filled with stale beans, hidden toxins, or cheap blends pretending to be premium. Choosing the right coffee can boost your energy, sharpen your focus, and actually support your health without the jitters, crashes, or mystery ingredients. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more videos that expose fake, low-quality products and show you the real alternatives worth buying, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next eye-opening guide.